I think we all have our affinity for certain saints, or as you get to know more about them, as you get deeper into your faith, there's a great way for you to do that easily at EWTN.com. Click on Catholicism, and you can find out all kinds of great ebooks and different kinds of theologians and doctors of the church that have talked more and more about God and Jesus in ways that we can connect to each other and how that all brings us closer together. So check that out again, EWTN.com/Catholicism to find out more about the saints.
My friends, when you hear that music, that's not Rush. That means it's time for the Soulful Psalm segment of Beacon of Truth. The Soulful Psalms is where we take one of the Psalms that we hear in every holy sacrifice of the Mass, that we hear, we pray the Liturgy of the Hours, the beautiful hymnal, the hymn book of the Old Testament of our Jewish brothers and sisters, and we connect that psalm to your everyday lived experience. And today we're continuing our look at Psalm 136. So 136 is a psalm that repeats. Every other line of the kola is repetitive. It doesn't happen often in the Psalms, but when it's due, it's epic. And the repeating line is, "For his mercy endures forever," right? For his mercy endures forever. For his mercy endures forever. You know, when I pray this psalm, it kind of reminds me of the praying the chaplet of divine mercy, right? For the sake of his sorrowful passion, have mercy on us and on the whole world. So this psalm, Psalm 136, book 5 of the Psalms, no prescript or superscript. You know, it start off, "Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endures forever. Give thanks to the God of God, for his mercy endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of Lord, for his mercy endures forever." Every other line is, "For his mercy endures forever." Now, again, in the current translation of the Grail Psalms, it says, "For his love endures forever." But actually in the Hebrew, it's interchangeable. Mercy, love, merciful love. It's all interchangeable because there's four different words for the idea of love, right? There's a hesed, which is covenant kind of love, the exchange of love, life, intimacy, communion, making a complete gift of yourself in love. There's ahava, raham. So ahava is a selfless kind of love. Ahava, raham is more like when you have like when you pity someone, you know, like gosh, I love them, you know, like the love you give to like a homeless person. When you give something to a homeless person, that love of that other person, but it's more like not self-pity, but, you know, having that merciful kind of love towards someone that needs God's mercy. And then there's yedid, which is a romantic kind of love, right? Yedid. So when they use the word either hesed or actually ahava is also used for mercy or merciful love, it's the same. So mercy, love, same thing. And I love that too about our faith, that God sees those as interchangeable. All right, so we're picking up and then this psalm also is kind of a historical narrative as well, talking about the trials in the desert of the Jewish people. And so it talks about through the desert, he led the people, the nations in their greatness he struck, kings in their splendor he slew. We looked at that last time. So we're going to pick up here at right around verse 23. He remembered us in our distress. We're verse 19. So who are these kings that he slew? Sion, king of the Amorites, for his mercy endures forever. And Og, the king of Bashan, for his mercy endures forever. So it's very interesting the way it does this, because if you read the text, it says, through the desert his people, without the repeating phrase, through the desert his people he led, nations in their greatness he struck, kings in their splendor he slew, Sion, king of the Amorites, Og, the king of Bashan, right? And that flows well, right? It tells the story, it flows well. But in between each line, each kola, there's for his mercy endures forever. And I love that because it shows that every step along the way on our path, on our journey toward God, God's merciful love is there with us and to meet us. I love that God is with us every step of the way on this journey. And that's awesome. He gave their land as a heritage, for his mercy endures forever. He remembered us in our distress, for his mercy endures forever. So he gave their land as a heritage. So when you think of that, you think as an inheritance, right? You get a land or a property or money or something like that. But there's something to say about the land itself, right? Because we talk about, for example, the Jordan River, right? When Jesus was baptized in the Jordan, that if you were coming into the faith as a Christian, you were to be baptized. If you were blessed enough to be able to be baptized in the Jordan River, you wouldn't have to bless the water, because you usually use water that's holy water to be baptized in, except in the Jordan River, because Jesus hallowed those waters when he was in there himself. He blessed the waters when he entered into those waters to be baptized, right? And so this heritage. So we talk about our inheritance. And what is our inheritance? Heaven. Jesus came into the world and endured all the things that we endure: hunger, pain, sadness. Jesus wept at the death of his friend Lazarus. I'm sure he laughed, especially visiting Martha and Mary and Lazarus, his three friends there. And I'm sure they had wonderful times together. And so, but he did all of that so we can get our inheritance, our heritage, which is to share life with him in heaven, right? To share life with him in heaven. Love that. The heritage for Israel, his servant, right? So the heritage is for all the people of Israel and for all of us, right? Yeah, God initially went to the people of Israel, but then he sent Paul, right, the apostle of the Gentiles. And then the apostle went out to all different parts of the world, to spread the good news of God's love and God's merciful love, all right, to all the corners of the earth, of the known world at that time. So this story of God's merciful love is for each and every one of us. And we inherit it when we freely cooperate with his grace and with his love and with his truth. It says he remembered us in our distress, for his mercy endures forever. Yeah, he didn't forget about us. He didn't abandon us. He didn't forsake us. Again, sometimes it may feel like that, that God has done it, but that's not the case at all. So often, we said this before, you have to just be patient and wait on the Lord. But it's hard to be patient. It's hard to be understanding when you're in pain. Whether you're going through physical pain yourself or emotional pain or mental pain, whatever it may be. It's hard to see God's majesty, God's to feel the presence of God's merciful love in the midst of all that. But he is there. And I've been through that myself. You heard me share a number of times about losing my best friend, Craig, when we were 38 years old, and how devastating that was for me. And that was the hardest time of my life, in the sense that not feeling God's presence in my life. I am aware of God's presence in my life almost every minute of every day. Even like I said, when I go on my walks, pray the rosary, I got a bunch of prayers that I do. When I'm traveling, when I'm in the plane, I'm focusing on what I need to do when I land in the gig that I have, preparing myself for that. Any writing projects I have, I'm thinking about that. Like right now, I'm thinking about the presentation I have to give in Steubenville with at the Deacons Conference with Scott Hahn and Dr. Bergsma and a number of others as well. So I'm thinking about that, right? So I'm constantly thinking about being in the what it means to be in the presence of God. And when we do that, that gives us the confidence, even in times of difficulty. We can be assured and have confidence in the fact that God's love is always with us. God's love will never leave us. I love that about the psalmist here. And this is the hope. This was the hope for the people of Israel, and this is the hope for all of us. But here's the thing. We can't keep this good news to ourselves. There are so many people who are hurting that don't know the Lord. And I just can't imagine how they're going to get through whatever it is they're going through without the comfort of prayer, without knowing the Lord deeply, intimately, and personally. So we have an obligation, I think, and a responsibility by our baptism to be witnesses of God's faith and love and mercy to everyone that we meet.
For more on the Psalms with Deacon Harold Burke-Sivers, check out Beacon of Truth weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio and streaming everywhere you listen to podcasts.